Hey, Michael, Narcissus Nest. So I kind of been busy last couple of days, a lot of shit going on, and but I remember the story I want to talk about. Um, a lot of people talk about this, they talk about that, and talk about how tough they are and whatever situations that they are. But rarely it's a guy by himself. Like I prefer being by myself, especially back then when I was doing illegal stuff. It's because you never want to have someone else that you got to rely on, especially when it comes down to getting arrested. Um, there's a saying, what is it? But it's basically the only crime that you want to commit is by yourself. But so I would never. First of all, I'd like to say is I would never ever come onto YouTube and lie. My honor, my pride is worth more money, more than any dollar amount that there is. No dollar amount or money, right, could keep me from tossing and turning at night from being a lying piece of shit. But what I want to talk today is a real story about a guy that tried to rob me. Um, when I was hustling, I was about 22 years old, and I had my own condo, living pretty good. Um, and I was doing really good at the time. So I first started hustling at about 18. I was making 2 to 4 grand a week at 18 years old, week after week after week after week. And I didn't have any other skills or anything like that. I was young and dumb, and once you get a taste of something like that, it's hard to turn it back, hard to go back. But you've seen a lot of videos that's what ended up me doing time. And from a New Hampshire kid, I ended up doing time in upstate New York. So that kind of made me change my life, and I had other responsibilities in life that I had to take care of too. So I wouldn't change anything about what happened to me and me getting arrested and doing time. I wouldn't change any of that because that was a big turning point that turned me into a man. So that actually the time that I had to do in that bit that I had to do, that was life changing. And but so this situation. So you have jackers and you have hustlers. Hustlers, they're good with their money. They're good. They got good social skills. So they're like salesmen. I've always been good at that. So I was always a good hustler. I started hustling at like 13, 14 years old. Weed, and then other stuff. So you got hustlers and you got jackers. Now the jackers, full time, 24/7. They're going around trying to find someone to get them to rob them with a firearm. However, professional jackers, guys that are doing jacking all the time, they're gonna have a firearm or something. They're not like a friggin' 7-Eleven robber with a knife. They're gonna try to plan something out decent, and they're coming with a firearm. So at this time, I was doing really good financially. I had a nice, sweet crib, and I had a bunch of firearms, and I had a bunch of cash in the house at the time. And so it's summertime. I knew this kid pretty decent. He knew what I was up to. And he knew about me before we even met. So he showed up at my house during the summertime with black leather gloves. It's friggin' like 100 degrees out. He's got black leather gloves on, a t-shirt and black leather gloves. He shows up at my house. I look out the window. It's the first thing I see. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, motherfucker, huh? You're gonna fucking play around? All right. I could have just said, I'm busy, or I could have shoot him off. I didn't even have to let him in the house, but I wasn't feeling what he was doing. I wanted to see what he was about, and that's no bullshit. So I went upstairs and I this firearm. I came downstairs and I sat on the sofa. I came downstairs and the sofa's got pillows on it, one on each end. This was a 40 cal. It was like it was called the Caltech, and this thing was a rocket. Really, 40 cows are pretty powerful, and it's loud, and so I put it underneath one of the pillows, and I went and answered the door and let him in. He came in, we were chit chatting. I sit him down on the sofa. I had a big sofa and then a smaller sofa. I sat him on the smaller sofa. He sits down, I sit down, and we start talking. Right, I reach over and I grab my pistol underneath the pillow and I put it right onto my lap. Now I'm looking at him dead in his face. So how's your day going? I'm like, this is my new firearm. This is my new gun. It's sick, right? And this was a really, really pretty gun. It was nice. So I'm like, yeah, this is my new thing. I just got it the other day. It's gorgeous, huh? his friggin' whole demeanor changed. His mouth almost dropped, right? So now I got this thing sitting on my lap. I'm looking at him dead in his face, chit-chatting about how's his day, what's going on, are you were in the neighborhood, what's going on? And so he starts talking. I could tell his whole demeanor changed. His mouth almost dropped, right? So then after a couple minutes of talking about some bullshit, he's like, oh yeah, I forgot I had to go do something. And he got up. I got up with my firearm in my hand and I walked him out the door. And then he left. So people talk about their stories and talk about that. But I stayed calm. I didn't punk out. I did not answer my door, let him in. I knew the second I saw those black gloves what time it was. But I wanted to let him know what he could run into. You know, whenever you hit a situation from someone, especially something like that, you don't want to hide or punk out. You want to attack it head on. That's what I do in life. When I got a problem, I attack it head on. So I might not be attacking a problem, because I probably don't even I didn't realize it. See, I'm real self-aware about shit nowadays. So yeah, that's the story I wanted to talk about. That's a real story on everything. Kid came to my house, dead summer, freaking black leather gloves and a t-shirt on. He was gonna go for it. He was going for it. But I stayed calm. I showed him this would not be a fucking good idea if you moved forward with this. And he knew what time it was. He got up and he left. He never showed back up at my house again. We didn't see each other again much. My man Maddie, what up, player? If you see this. So yeah, that's a story. I just remembered that. And I got a bunch of stuff going on in my life right now, so I'm not really in the video kind of mood. But I remembered that story and I wanted to talk about it. The jacker came for it and he didn't like what he saw. So people talk about this and they talk about that and how they act. That's how I act. That's how I take care of stuff. Michael Hughes, Narcissist Nest.